The foldable market is banking on Apple to revive a faltering sector. Foldable phones are supposedly headed for a breakout year in 2026, and analysts believe the predicted iPhone Fold is the cause. After years of patchy success, the foldable market is purportedly set for a genuine surge. Counterpoint Research anticipates foldable display panel shipments to surge 46% in 2026 as Apple begins ordering parts for its first foldable iPhone. IDC also anticipates a strong surge in device shipments, and both organizations say the category's trajectory now rests on Apple's arrival. Foldables came with huge promises and delicate hardware, and the early versions developed a reputation for being prohibitively pricey for most buyers. The concept has matured, but it remains a niche that hasn't matched the hype. Now the supply chain is ready for a shift centered on a device Apple hasn't verified. 1. Apple's arrival resets expectations. Apple waited longer than rivals before committing to a foldable, allowing Samsung, Huawei, and others to tackle the early setbacks and design missteps. Counterpoint contends that timing pays off because Apple's procurement cycle alone can restructure the market. Suppliers are ready for bigger volumes, more advanced panels, and the flood of attention that generally precedes a new Apple category. Book-style foldables appeal to purchasers because they unfold like a small tablet and offer more area to work. Counterpoint predicts those designs to dominate 2026 and raise average display prices. Manufacturers are encouraged to focus on larger, more complicated OLED screens. Samsung display advantages from their vast experience in foldable manufacture. The IDC forecasts a similar boost, but takes a more conservative assessment of the next phase. Its projection relates growth to Apple, Samsung's next batch of foldables, and Huawei's resurgence in China. The firm treats 2026 as a pivot rather than a full relaunch, noting that the segment requires multiple strong vendors to push outside its niche. 2. How IDC's view varies. The major divergence between the two forecasts is the speed of the transformation. Counterpoint forecasts a fast jump connected directly to Apple's forthcoming orders. The IDC also forecasts sustained improvement over several years. By the end of the decade, foldables might take 10% of the worldwide smartphone market. The corporations also differed on form factor trends, with Counterpoint predicting book-style models to be prevalent while multi-fold designs remain specialized. The IDC recognizes trifold phones as early drivers and regards them as experiments that help the market mature. The IDC goes farther by forecasting Apple's first foldable may take more than 20% of unit share and about a third of the segment's revenue in its debut year. The business also forecasts pricing near $2,400, reflecting an ultra-premium approach rather than a mass-market effort. 3. A category still looking for its purpose. Even with Apple's momentum, the foldable category still confronts familiar issues. Buyers remain concerned about weak hinges, apparent wrinkles, and battery compromises. Developers are inconsistent in optimizing programs for larger and diverse layouts, which dulls the attraction of the extended screen. Not to add, Android has its own challenges with device support and feature fragmentation. Apple's tight control over hardware and software may lessen some of those challenges by easing the transfer from phone to tablet viewing. Carriers and merchants would also have a better story to tell, which might help the segment reach buyers who've avoided foldables thus far. Apple can't fix everything at once, and foldables remain an expensive experiment that may take years to reach the public. The next generation must establish that larger screens and different forms justify the price, instead of feeling like a novelty for early adopters. 4. The year Apple takes power. Analysts believe the foldable market is finally prepared for serious growth. Panel makers are raising production, vendors are rewriting product plans, and estimates are constantly revised as expectations climb. A successful foldable iPhone might help 2026 become the year the category transcends beyond its niche. A miscalculation would show that foldables need more than a clever hinge to win a bigger audience. The iPhone Fold remains a mystery to some level, of course, but we do have a pretty rough concept of what it could offer. The study from UDN noted the iPhone Fold might be creaseless, which means you wouldn't notice that unsightly line when it was folded open. In August, Mashable also reported on predictions from Apple reporter Mark Gurman, who predicted that the foldable iPhone would be a book-style foldable with 4 cameras, 2 on the back, 1 on the inside, and 1 front selfie camera. Gurman also predicted it will employ Touch ID, despite though iPhones generally use Face ID. Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo stated earlier this year that the iPhone Fold would have a 7.8-inch inner panel, a 5.5-inch outer display, and measure in at just 9 to 9.5 millimeters of thickness. We heard another rumor in September, which stated the iPhone Fold will appear like two iPhone Airs put together, with a comparable thickness of 5.6 millimeters. Why the disparity between the two reports? It could be the difference between the device's thickness when folded and unfolded. Mashable's Alex Perry also compared the potential specs of the iPhone Fold with the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, which we know a lot more about. Apple has purchased 22 million OLED panels from Samsung Display for the first foldable iPhone, signifying a substantially greater manufacturing target than the display industry had previously anticipated, ET News reports. In the now seemingly removed post, ET News stated that Samsung aims to mass-produce 11 million inward-folding OLED screens for Apple next year, as well as 11 million matching exterior displays. With Samsung Display serving as the exclusive supplier of these components, the production plan implies that Apple's own target output for the first-generation foldable iPhone is in the range of 10 million finished devices, since suppliers usually produce more components than Apple needs to account for yield and quality variations. This production estimate is more than 30% higher than initial industry expectations, which pegged early foldable iPhone shipments between 6 million and 8 million units. Those earlier projections were based on the past performance of the worldwide foldable smartphone market, which has hovered just above 20 million units annually. The report reiterated that the device is believed to sport a book-style, inward-folding design with a 5.35-inch external display and a 7.58-inch folding inside display. It is reported to have an improved hinge design and unique material qualities to minimize the crease in the folding display. Apple apparently aims to employ color filter on encapsulation, a technology that removes the usual polarizer layer and inserts its functions directly into the OLED stack. Eliminating the polarizer can reduce thickness and enhance brightness. The device is also said to have an under-display camera, allowing the internal display to produce a more seamless full-screen appearance without a punch hole or visible camera cutout. Apple's first foldable iPhone would apparently forego the traditional SIM card slot in favor of eSIM technology, according to a well-known Chinese leaker posting on Weibo today. Apple is anticipated to unveil the tablet late next year or in early 2027, based on several rumors. The so-called iPhone Fold is said to include a 5.5-inch exterior display and a book-style design that opens to show a roughly 7.8-inch interior screen similar of an iPad mini. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has called the foldable as super thin and a design achievement, comparing it to two titanium iPhone Airs side by side. Internal volume will therefore be strictly confined. It's highly likely that the foldable iPhone will come without a SIM card slot, supporting eSIM only, stated leaker Instant Digital, repeating earlier estimates from Gurman and analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. Instant Digital also highlighted the existing disadvantages of eSIM in mainland China, where users overwhelmingly favor physical SIM activation and dual SIM slots. China's fast-moving resale and device trial culture makes speedy SIM transfers crucial, meaning an eSIM-only foldable would rely significantly on flawless carrier provisioning. Apple is aware of the challenges. The iPhone Air, which adopted an eSIM-only design for similar space-driven reasons, depends on dedicated support from China Mobile, China Telecom, and China Unicom. It permits up to 2 active eSIM, although activation still requires an in-store visit. Globally, iPhone Air sales have undershot forecasts, to say the least. Many buyers have focused less on its tiny profile and more on the trade-offs it introduced, such as shorter battery life and a single rear camera. In China, the eSIM limitation will have undoubtedly added another layer of hesitation. The foldable iPhone is expected to offer numerous new technologies, including a 24-megapixel under-display camera and a crease-free inner panel. Apple will be depending on these developments to overcome worries about usability, especially in areas where eSIM usage lags. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.